Here's an idea if you're into restringing your own guitars or bass or doing minor repairs. There's some pretty expensive stuff available online, somewhere in the range of $350 for a real nice guitar vise, and down to $20 for a little desktop stand to hold your guitar. But I decided to take some PVC pipe and some fittings and basically put this together without the add-on pieces for well under $30. Like I say, the added pieces here is this Dunlop neck cradle, which will probably run you about 30 bucks. I had this one that I wasn't really using and decided to make the stand and add it to that. The other pieces here, these are called bench dogs. You can get them at Lowe's or Rockler or one of the lumber supply places. And basically they're nice because they have self-stick little rubber pads on them. I took them apart, modified them, drilled a hole through the center, and I attached them to my 2-inch PVC cap here, so they will rock and articulate to contour to the back of the guitar. So I have 2 of those. I have a couple of 2-inch caps, 2 2-inch 90-degree elbows here. I have a 4-way connector here. I was thinking maybe later on I could add something to the back of this and mount it somewhere else. So you could just use the T connector right here and cut this right and not have this opening here. Piece of PVC pipe, 2-inch, a 90-degree elbow here, a connector, and underneath my little neck cradle is just a 2-inch cap. And all I did basically was screw my Dunlop neck cradle right into the cap. So it's real sturdy. You can see it doesn't rock. Nice and solid, and I'll show you how it works. Here's a standard electric guitar. On the back side, just lay it on there, and as you can see, it doesn't move. There's a little bit of play in the bench dogs, but they have to articulate. You can slide it, move it around, forward and back. If you want to work on the back side of the guitar, the Dunlop has the feature where it has a flat side here. If you're careful, just watch where your controls are. Make sure you're not hitting any of your controls on the front side, and you can just turn it over and the bench dogs hold it nice and steady. So there's your electric guitar. If you have an acoustic, same exact procedure. You have the little V shape sticking up. Take your acoustic guitar, lay it on there, move it around if you want, nice and sturdy. If you want to do the backside, polish it or something like that, or change your tuners, flip it over. No controls on the front side of this, so it's pretty simple. Put it right on there. If you're into bass, there's a nice string through bass. Make sure I rotate it around if I'm going to work on the front side. Lay it on here. Yeah, nice and sturdy. It's not going anywhere. You can change your tuners, your strings. Again, backside. Again, you got to watch your controls. Make sure the controls aren't going to hit anything. And you can get it right on the edge here. I'm hitting the control. And there you go. Bench dogs contour to the shape and hold it securely without damaging the finish. So there you have it. In just a second, I'll give you some details on how to make one. Next thing I want to show you is what I did to make the articulating ends. These deals here. And what I did is I took my cap, I drilled a hole a little larger than my, in my case I used a 10 by 24 screw. Actually it might be a 10 by 32. So I drilled a hole from this side, and then what I did is just rocked it around to give it a little play as I was drilling. I also took my bench dog, or I called them bench dogs before, but they're actually called bench cookies. This is how it looks new. You carefully peel off the rubber on both sides, or the little pads. What I had done is drilled a hole to fit my 10/32 screw and countersunk it down. I actually drilled a bigger hole through here so the head wouldn't obviously stick up and interfere with the pad. I pull that through like that, and that's the bench dog. Now when I take this and place it into my cap, you can see it articulates. I took a number 10. You could use a regular washer. I just had a nylon washer in my hardware laying around. I slide that on there. And then you want to use a Nylock, something that'll stay tight. Or you can do two nuts tightened against each other. I prefer to use a little Nylock nut. And then you go ahead and you tighten that down. And you don't want to go all the way down. You want to get it so it still has some articulation. I'll go down and then back it off a little bit. And that's still a little tight, so loosen up a little bit more. And there you have a bench dog or a bench cookie. Now all I need to do is just stick my my rubber pad back on there. The next thing I want to show you is the how I attach my Dunlop, if you choose to use the Dunlop neck cradle or neck stand. And as you can see, all I did was took my cap here and I drilled through my neck stand. I just used, so again, a lot of this stuff I have laying around the garage. I do a lot of work around the house. I had some Hardy Backer 1 1/4 inch, 10 by 1 1/4 inch screws. I pre-drilled the holes in here, slightly larger than the screws, and then drilled the holes slightly smaller than the screws going into here, and just ran them into the cap. Okay, here's what you're going to need. Again, this is all 2-inch. If you wanted to go a little smaller, it would probably be fairly sturdy also. I'm not sure. I just grabbed 2-inch because I actually had some pipe left over in the garage. First thing you need is one of these 2-inch couplings. Right here you're going to need 3 of these 90-degree elbows. 2 of these rounded top caps, 2-inch caps. 1 plug, and this goes inside. This is going to go in your coupling. That's where you're going to mount your Dunlop or whatever type of stand you want to put in here if you follow what I had done. And then in this case, as you saw in mine, I had the 4-way connector, but a 3-way T connector would be just as good. And then your PVC pipe, and this is just 2-inch. And obviously, if you haven't done any PVC or ABS pipe gluing, you need primer and a cement, and also something to cut the PVC pipe. I have a miter saw, so I just used a miter saw. If you don't have that kind of tools available, you can actually just use a regular saw. You want to get your cuts as square as possible, though, especially with PVC pipe. If you haven't worked with PVC pipe before, just be aware that when you're measuring, when you're doing your lengths, that there is a 1 1/4 recess into the pipe, and you want to make sure that when you're gluing it, you get the full insertion of the pipe into the fitting that you're using. So in these cases here, the 5 I pointed out before, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up front here 5. We have flush joints there, so each one of these pieces is 2.5 inches in length, and here. So be aware of that. If you want a flush fit, 2.5 inches will work fine to get the tight fit there. This center section is actually 19 1/4 inches long, minus the 1 1/4 at each side. So in between here, we have 16 3/4. And my original length of my pipe was 19 1/4, so I just want to make sure you're aware of that before we move on. Just a final thought on assembly. This piece right here, your 2 elbows, your coupler, your straight piece of pipe, and your front elbow are probably the most critical, that they be aligned as close as possible. Obviously, these pieces right here, all should be pretty much parallel to one another on a flat plane. To do that, I'd have my elbow ready to go with my 1 1/4 pipe in it, and I go ahead and I insert with the glue, and I'd go ahead and insert this and get this as close as possible to having this being on a vertical plane and this one being on a horizontal plane. Then when that sets, it's going to be easy for me to add my other pipe from the other side, and using the flat surface of the table or the floor, make sure that both of these are parallel to one another. Last step is, after I inserted my length of pipe here and let that set, I would then take my last elbow, my final elbow, and go ahead and insert that face down, and I'd have 1, 2, 3 elbows all using the flat surface or the ground. And once the glue sets on that last joint, all three of these pieces will be parallel to one another, and that's optimal for the operation of the stand. I also added a couple of holes in the bottom of these rear ones because I needed to, just in case that one of the bench dogs breaks or a bolt breaks or something, I can still access it with a long extension and get in there and change the nut or change the bolt. So there you have it. I appreciate you watching, and post your comments if you like it. If you have any improvements that you want to share with other viewers, by all means do so, and hope it works for you. Thanks for watching.